Welcome to the Line Life podcast. I'm Jeff Postlethwaite, Senior Editor of T&D World, and today we're bringing you more stories of the grit, courage, and inspirational teamwork that it takes to be a line worker.
Hello and welcome to the Line Life podcast. My name is Amy Fishbach and I'm the field editor for T&D World magazine. Today I'm talking with Journeyman Lineworker Jason Mendoza from San Diego Gas and Electric. We're first going to talk about his experience when he was at the International Linemen's Rodeo, and then next you're going to hear about his time that he served in the military before joining the line trade and moving from the Midwest to California. Jason, you and I first met at the International Linemen's Rodeo Week in 2022, and as you know, the rodeo is about ready to celebrate its 40th anniversary. So to begin this episode, can you talk about your experiences during the International Linemen's Rodeo Week and what it was like for you to be around so many line workers and enjoy the camaraderie of the line trade when you were in Kansas City?
Sure. How's it going, Amy? I've attended the International Lineman Rodeo, I think 3 or 4 times prior. And since moving to California, this was the first trip back. And it was great to be with old friends and crews that I worked with where I met back with guys from the Midwest. So it was also good to meet new people, not only from where I come from, but also to meet up and network with linemen and crews, vendors from all over the world. I think the rodeo is good in that it's a place where, whether you're competing or as a spectator, it's a place that will always be about the trade. And I think in that, I mean, where linemen are doing what we do as linemen and, being there, learning, meeting and networking and creating connections that last. And that's among linemen and line families or the support personnel there or the vendors. So I think everyone there is there for that reason for the trade. And I just really enjoy all of it, the expo, the Q shirt trades, but the rodeo itself is the highlight there again, though, for sure. And just watching, guys doing what we do.
Wonderful. And now let's move on to your background. Can you talk about where you were born and how many siblings you have?
Sure. I was born in Sterling, Illinois. It's a small, blue-collar, hardworking town in northern Illinois. I'm a middle child. I have one older brother and one younger sister. Both went on to college after high school, and I pursued the military and the trades, which has suited me just right.
And talk about the military. What branch did you serve in and how long did you serve?
I was in the U.S. Navy Seabees, and I was in there for a 2x8 program with 2 years active duty, 4 years active reserve. In the Seabees was the construction battalions in the Navy, where we did all the very bases, road work. There was linemen on our crews, construction electricians, the plumbers, pipe fitters, welders. I was a carpenter, builder, mason, so it was good work.
And were you ever deployed overseas, Jason?
I was deployed to Okinawa, Sasebo, Japan, all during peacetime operations. So we were just doing construction projects over there.
And how did your experience in the military translate to what you're doing right now?
I think being in the military gives you such a hardened background in learning, taking direction. I think it's good going through apprenticeships. It gives you that baseline for, following orders, paying attention to detail and, being there for your brother, and the military teaches all those values and those characteristics and virtues of a person that is who you want in the line trade. I think that brotherhood in the line trade is very similar to that of being in the military service.
And now, Jason, can you talk a little bit about your family? I remember you saying a few years ago that you and your wife were ready to celebrate your 10th wedding anniversary, which is great.
I'm married to a beautiful, wonderful woman, Julie Mendoza. Our oldest is my stepson, Peyton, and we have Christian and Samuel, all boys. Yeah, they're full of adventure and energy for sure.
Absolutely. What are your hobbies and interests outside of work?
Well, moving to California, we're definitely outside quite often. We take advantage of the weather here and being in the mountains or the desert or the beach. We like hiking. I enjoy exercising, hitting the gym, running. There's vast trail system here in San Diego County. So, we'll get out there as much as we can. But really just, being with my family, if I can spend that time with them, with my kids, attending a lot of sports games and sometimes helping to coach if I am able to.
Yeah, that's great that you're able to be there for him like that. They'll never forget that. Next, let's move on to your experience in the line trade. How did you get interested in the utility industry?
Well, when I got out of the military, I moved back to Sterling. My father worked for Commonwealth Edison on the nuclear side of the power industry in mechanical maintenance. He retired there after 38 years, retired from Exelon, and then went on another 10 years as a contractor with Constellation there. My family's always had a utility background, per se. But when I got out of the military and looking for work, Commonwealth Edison, I believe, had a nepotism. And so in Chicago, there was both the electric utility and gas utility. So I started actually in the utility industry in September of 2001, the week right after 9/11 occurred.
Wow.
So my first job there was a meter reader.
Okay.
So, and that was, like I said, for the gas utility out of the Chicago area.
What is your current title and what are some of your key responsibilities now?
I'm working now for San Diego Gas and Electric as a journeyman lineman. So I'm in the transmission department and tasked with the maintenance and construction of the transmission grid here in Southern California. Like I said, I worked for Mid-American Energy in the Midwest. That's kind of like where I was first exposed to the trade. I guess, let me back up. So in 2001, as a meter reader there at the Chicago utility there, I moved back to Western Illinois where I worked for Mid-American Energy. And that's where I first, as a gas fitter, I was exposed to the linemen that were working there as the trouble crews, working nights and responding to trouble calls, whether, fires or different things happening in the evenings. And it was those guys and the line crews that would show up to different calls where I was first exposed to the trade, and, talking with those guys and with great advice and mentorship. I knew, kind of just watching them work, that this was something I needed to be doing. And I knew that's where I wanted to be, and kind of determined to make that call as a lineman. So then that's Mid-American Energy is where I cut my teeth and completed my apprenticeship and kind of honed those skills as a journeyman there for a while before I actually moved out to California, to San Diego.
And what was it like moving from the Midwest and Illinois to California for you and your family?
At first, it was quite, it's definitely a struggle moving a family across the country. But my wife has always been very supportive throughout our relationship, really, for this career and for our family to move like that was, it wasn't easy, definitely not easy. It's interesting, being a lineman in the Midwest as compared to California, regionally, it almost takes on a whole nother part of the trade, really. But I'm definitely happy that where I came up from allowed me to have the skill set to come here and hone those skills of being in the West Coast here, for sure.
And you're in a beautiful area of the country. I love San Diego.
Oh, it is very beautiful.
And what projects are you working on right now in the field, Jason?
We're tasked, like I said, with the maintenance and construction of the grid here. So anywhere from, we'll have pole replacements, tower work, insulator changeouts, some reconductor work. We take care of some underground maintenance and construction, and that's all on the high voltage side of the house here.
And are there any tools that you can't live without on a day-to-day basis? And can you talk about some of the new technology that you're using out in the field?
I guess thinking about tools and thinking about that, no matter what, I guess, if I'm climbing up a pole or up on the towers climbing and or maybe in the bucket even, I'm always kind of use those proven over time tools. Always a sharp knife, climbs, and a sling rope is always there just in case. As far as technology, being in the transmission side, I've learned how rope access has provided us, HEC as well, and how helicopter operations has provided us, an opportunity to be more efficient and productive in the work we do. Using Atlas devices, those are like devices that help us do our job and definitely make things more efficient and safe and productive.
So, Jason, are you part of the helicopter team or the HEC team?
Yes.
So talk about what that's like for you. And had you been on a helicopter before you did that?
No, coming to California, I had never done anything like that. So it was very cool to be a part of and go through the extensive training and that we do here. And once we went live with it, it's quite a thrill to be on a 100-foot line and, go from the ground to a tower or tower to tower and do our work and But yeah, it's quite a rush. I love it. Being in the mountains, it's definitely a sight to see when in California for sure.
I bet that was gorgeous. And Jason, is there a moment during your career in the line trade that you'll never forget?
We completed this 500 kV barehand training and qualification, and it was a great experience to be a part of, and doing again something I never had the chance to, and doing barehand work and really kind of learning those skills and being bestowed and passed down from guys before me.
That's great that you're learning the new skills like that. And Jason, what do you think are some of the biggest challenges and rewards of working in the utility industry?
I think there's always going to be challenges being away from your family, a lot of hours, obviously, on the job, but also being on the job. It could be material issues, tools, fleet, weather, you name it. There's always challenges that come across, even from construction standards or something, that one might not be used to. And again, that's like I'm saying, from region to region, from Midwest to California, they build things different here or there, and learning those things. But the reward is definitely, providing the power and maintaining that service. It's definitely the highlight and reward and fulfillment I personally love.
And now let's talk about safety. Is there a moment during your career when you learned about the importance of safety on the job?
I think, again, I'll touch on the barehand training and even the helicopter training. And coming here, barehand training is quite unique. I mean, we're always, as linemen in distribution, communicating, but it's at another level when you're doing a barehand live line work. Everybody from the ground to the midpoint guy on the tower to above you and yourself being on there, it's a different animal. You have 500,000 volts all around you, and you have rigging and sticks and lines everywhere and ladders and booms. And it's a definite team effort to be on your A game and being responsive and alert and paying attention to details and the safety of everybody involved. And, it's quite a day to go out there and be able to change, whether it's V strings or dead ends or anything like that on an energized level like that.
Now let's move on to memorable storms. Working in the Midwest in California, is there a storm or severe weather event that really sticks out to you?
I think a lot of my storm memories are definitely from the Midwest. I guess just being in the Midwest, there was, snowstorms and ice storms and summer storms. And I mean, you name it, it's always something coming in. And we were always ready for it. We did a lot of mutual aid calls being from the Midwest. Being down here in Southern California, there isn't so much mutual aid. I think being in the direct middle of the nation, everybody's in support of each other to the East Coast and South and all around with, just crazy weather all around you. But I do remember in some of these storms being in the Midwest where it's flat, you can see the storms coming in and watching that, occur and happen. A big front coming in, it's quite a sight. And then once it's over you and you can't even see out of your vehicle, the truck's rocking and moving and just wind going crazy, rain. And then, as soon as it passes, the radio's going off the hook and, you got calls here, down wire here, tree here, broken poles everywhere, transformers laying all over the place, just devastation, and they're ready to hit it.
When you're out in the field and responding to a severe storm, are there any strategies, techniques, or best practices that have worked well for you over the years?
Linemen, it's what we do. It's when we're at our best. You just kind of just be diligent, watching each other's back. It's what we do. I think, all the linemen here, that you're almost, you're at your best in those moments. And, all that training and in your trade kind of come to light. And I guess it's all that training that you've ever gone through. And I don't really have a trick or anything per se. It's just, you rise to the occasion in the moment for sure.
And finally, let's wrap up with a discussion about your future plans. Would you go into the power industry again if you could do it all over again? And why or why not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I believe this was, and always will be the greatest trade there ever was or is out there. The pride, the trade, the work, the service to others, it really means, a lot to me, means everything to me. My future is, I obviously moving around, I'm one to keep progressing, keep learning, keep current. And I strive to bestow that knowledge that guys pass to me, to the guys just beginning, the way, that's just the way it is, the way knowledge is passed. And, those are, those small goals, I guess, right now.
And Jason, what are your plans for the future? Where do you see yourself in, 5 to 10 years in the line trade?
I've had some different roles that I've been asked to do, but I've answered that call and then, thought about it for a little bit. And instead of moving into a role where I'm offside the crew, my answer is always right now, I just really enjoy being a journeyman lineman. I think, where I come from in the Midwest, those guys, our crew leaders were, guys, very seasoned, tenured men that were in their 60s doing this. I plan on never kind of forgetting where I come from. And as long as I'm capable and able, I'll keep climbing these poles and towers,
That's awesome, Jason. I love that. And what other comments do you have about the utility industry, your life as a lineman?
Well, I think one of the things that was told to me, and it kind of comes, I guess, from the military, was to those who go out there and earn that title as a journeyman lineman, it's definitely earned. But once you get that title, don't hide behind it. Earn that title every day. Go out there and earn it, and be a journeyman lineman and do what we do.
That's great. Well, Jason, thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you the best of luck in your career as a journeyman lineman.
Thank you. I appreciate the time.
This episode of the Line Life podcast was written, recorded, and edited by Amy Fishbach. It was produced by Jeff Postlewaite. That's me. To listen to past episodes, visit www.tdworld.com/podcasts or find us at Podbean. You could also drop us a voice memo or message at linelifepodcast@gmail.com with your comments on this episode. We'd love to hear from you. Please follow this show on Podbean or your favorite podcasting app to be updated when new episodes are released. Thank you for listening.